All right, you guys, wanted to get on here and do this quick DIY because some of you said that you would love to see how I did these frames for my canvases. So one thing to keep in mind is that my canvas was 0.75 in thickness. They also make them 2 inches, so this might not work for the 2-inch canvas. You might have to find something bigger planks, and you might actually have to use glue instead of staples, and actual maybe thin nails. So this is solely going to be for the 0.75 thickness frames or canvases. And I do apologize in advance if you hear noise, if you hear Mila in the back, because she's not napping, so that's kind of, you know, mom life. So all you need is a staple gun. This is kind of my staple, staple piece that I have at home because I use it pretty much for everything, upholstering. I mean, there's just so many good uses to it, and you can get different kinds of staples. You don't have to get a heavy duty one. I think mine are, it will tell you on the staple right here. It'll probably be blurry on the camera, but it's mine was 5/16 staples, so they're actually pretty thin. I used my nose piece pliers. These are actually electrical wires, but I like them because they can grab staples really easily if you mess up. And then this is the spray paint that I use. This is a little bit more expensive. This is from Target, Radiant Metals, but you can also find, you know, any spray paint that you want from you know, Home Depot, Lowe's, or any of those stores. That will probably be a little bit cheaper. This can was $8, but most spray paints are about, you know, good quality ones are about $5 to $7, so it's not that bad. Plus it has this locking feature. So I was a little bit concerned because the cap looked bronzy and I needed it to be gold because I had some gold spray paint and I ran out, so I had to go to the store and get me some more and for the second frame. So this piece right here, it's a wood piece that you can find at Home Depot or Lowe's in their wood section, where all of their what do you call those, all the trimmings, these are sold by feet. So this one was 98 cents by foot, per foot. So you can either measure out your canvas and then just buy a little bit extra. That way, you know, if you mess up, you can create a new one, or make sure that you didn't get, you know, 2 little pieces and then end up having to go back to the store. So I just bought 2 16-foot poles, and I just cut them about 2 inches above the size that I needed in the store, because you can actually have somebody cut them for you, or you can cut it yourself. And then I just took them home, and then the next process that I did, which I'll show you. These are my beautiful canvases, and you can see how pretty they look in the gold, but you can definitely use any kind of spray paint you want. The gold kind of has the nice shimmer to it, how the light hits it from the window here, and then from the lights. Mila, get down, honey. Don't be climbing up. No. So I'm gonna show you one of those frames and what I did with it. As you can see, they're not angled. I have seen the style done before. It's like a square cut right here. Usually most of the frames are cut slanted. I didn't have the electric tool. I only had a saw. So this is why I kind of stuck with this kind of cut. Now if you have a saw, like an electrical saw, and your husband or whoever can cut it for you, you probably would want to do it kind of, you know, in an angle, and then it will probably be very seamless. This one has a little bit of kind of the look of a floating frame, which that's kind of what I wanted, so I don't mind the little edges, but I'm gonna take one off to show you guys. So I'm gonna lay this down backwards. So I didn't want to drag this canvas to the store because I didn't want to get it dirty. I didn't want to accidentally like pierce it through. So like I said, I cut these pieces about 2 inches more on the sides, and then when I came home, I laid them out around the canvas, and then I used a pencil and I just marked it how I wanted it. So the bottom piece, and the top piece are exactly the size of the canvas, as you can see right here. And you see a little chip over here. I mean, that's kind of what happens when you use a handsaw. So if you do have an electrical saw, it's probably the best, but I mean, you can't see it because it's going to be at the bottom, and I made sure that I was facing the good side around the frame, making sure that it doesn't look banged up. And then these two side pieces basically extend about the size of the little piece right here, as you can see, and that kind of makes them sturdier if this is the kind of cut you're going to go with. Of course, with the slanted, it's gonna be different. So what I did then is lay it out around the canvas backwards like this, and then had some space over to the side, and then I flipped these pieces over. Shh. I flipped these pieces over, and then basically like this, and I lined them up around on the floor, of course facing the good side was facing the bottom this way. That way you were stapling the back, and this was the actual back that is going to face the wall. And then I stapled it about 2 times here, making sure that I was holding it very tight so you don't really see any seams. So one other thing that you want to keep in mind is once you cut these edges, make sure that you use like a sanding sponge, or if you have an electrical one, it's probably best to do an electric sander and smooth these surfaces out, especially this piece right here, because if it's curved or crooked, it's not going to have a seamless, what do you call it? It's not going to staple really well. You'll see a huge gap. And it will be very, very crooked. So just straighten it the best you can, and then staple it here, and then as you can see, I stapled it also over here so that the piece doesn't move from side to side. So first staple the back around like that, and then just staple these. You know, it's staples, you can't really see them, so I basically spray painted them, so once it's hanging you can't see the staples because they're so high up. So whenever I'm finished with stapling, what I did was I took it outside and I spray painted it, and it usually dries within about 10 minutes, and as you can see, you know, you can't see the staples out here, so you can use whatever spray paint color you want to use, and then let it dry, bring it back here, and then you can kind of place it around the canvas and make sure that it fits really good. And then what I did was flip it over again, and I used one more staple here, here, and here, and that kind of made the canvas stick to the actual frame so it doesn't slide off. Because the canvas is actually on the canvas stretcher, this is actually a piece of wood, so you're not going to ruin the canvas in the back. So just 3 staples on this side, 3 staples on this side, and then you have your ready canvas. Also, the reason that I did these sides right here is because sometimes wood pieces can have like a bow. They might not be straight when you put them on, so sometimes whenever you staple these frames and you put it on, it can stick out and create a huge gap in between here. So stapling it here and just holding these tight like this while you're stapling them kind of also closes the gap in a little bit closer. But that's it. This is how you create a very easy floating frame. I have mentioned it before that these floating frames, if you even look online, especially for big art pieces like this, can cost anywhere from $60 to $150 depending on how, you know, what kind of frame you want. But this is just an easier way for you to create a frame and it being inexpensive. I will show you the before look without the frame, and it just kind of blends into the wall, so it's not as pretty. And now that it's gold, the pieces stand out. It also adds about an inch around the frame, so it makes it look really, really nice. It just adds more color to it, and just really makes the picture stand out. So I'm really happy with the result. And altogether, because I had the staples, I had for the most part most of my spray paint, but if you don't have spray paint, you don't have a staple gun, and then you need to get those little wood pieces all together, probably for 2 frames about this size, which these canvases are about 20 by 30. It turned out to be about $35, and that's for 2 frames. So basically about $18 a picture. So that was pretty cheap. I have even went to Home Depot and I looked for frames, and they didn't have this size. And most of them, even though they were 40% off, they were still very expensive. So yeah, this is just a great way to accentuate your canvases and kind of make them look a little bit more luxurious without breaking the bank. So I hope you guys enjoyed this DIY. Please share, please like, and I will see you guys next time on my next video, maybe on my next project. Alrighty, hope you guys enjoyed it.